now it looks like the connection is stable. We are live for another Mindset Reset Time snapshot session. My name is Sonja Kirschner. I'm also known as the Mindset Medium. I've been facilitating breakthroughs for ambitious women who want to be emotionally fit and have a mental strength to create business, life, and career that they love. I'm coming on these Mindset Reset Time snapshot sessions to really summarize what we speak about in the actual group coaching workshops, which are taking place every Tuesday and every Friday, which are group coaching sessions. You can get a free day pass to come along and join us. But for now, I want to talk to you about something which came up last Friday, and I really want to share it with the audience, wider audience, so that you can also benefit. We'll be speaking about the source of success or failure, the true source of success or failure. So I hope you will find this useful. So in the last few videos relating to Mindset Reset Time snapshots, it's all about how we can reboot our mind for top performance. We've been speaking about the driving forces behind all success, and we spoke about that we are always as humans, we are always pursuing our need to avoid pain or our desire to gain pleasure. It's always the two twin forces that drive us in the background. And we would do more to avoid pain that we would do to gain pleasure. That's what we spoke about. We also spoke about that every single thing we pursue, whether it's a goal, a material object, whether it's a behavior we want to change for ourselves, we do only for one reason and one reason only. And the main reason being that we want to feel good. Now, good being a massive term for all the different emotions you can feel, from enthusiastic, joyful, proud, content, hopeful, loving, passionate. But let's call it good. So everything we do, everything we pursue, everything we're trying to make happen, every behavior we're trying to change is for us feeling good. So it's all about emotion, the need to avoid pain being an emotion, and our deepest desire to gain pleasure being our emotion, and everything we do is our emotion. Essentially, we're doing it to feel good. So emotions are really the ultimate human resource. When we find in ourselves in our strong emotional state, we can truly achieve anything. But how come somebody seems to be truly successful based on how we look at them, but yet don't feel successful? Or somebody who may appear like they're not really getting much out of life, yet they themselves look at them as being successful. How come? What are the true sources behind success and failure? You see, speaking of emotions, each of us have learned to take all the emotions we experience and give them a different priority depending on the level of intensity that we experience these emotions. So we really take the emotions and we prioritize them, so to speak, in our unconscious mind. We've learned to value different emotions at different levels of intensity. And these emotions we've learned to value at different levels of intensity are our values, are the things that are most important to us in our life. So it can be freedom, success, growth, passion, contribution. What is important to you, right? These are our values, and we are looking at our values, the sum of our values, the sum of our emotions, so to speak, giving them a different level of priority and living our lives according to them. So our values, they determine the priority of our values, determine what we are looking at, how we are making decisions day in and day out, and determine the direction in our life that we are heading. If you take somebody with a value of the top value of security, and you take somebody else with the top value of freedom, these two people will be looking at their life differently. They will be looking at life through a different lens. The decisions, the actions they will be taking day in and day out, they will be different every day. And the decision they make every day will take them in a different direction. And the direction they had determine the destination of the life, so to speak. So our values are really the true source of our success or our failure. So of course I want to make this useful for you, and I want to start to engage you and start thinking about, okay, so what are my values? Let's look at this. I mean, you may need some time to do this exercise, and when you watch the replay, feel free to pause and do it. But the question is to find out what your values are, your true source, driving source, so to speak, of your success. Ask yourself the question, what is most important to me in my life? Now, you may also you may want to do it for your business or for your career, but let's stick with the life example. Ask yourself the question, what is most important to me in my life? And what are the emotions that are most important? That's also important to mention. Focus on emotions. So if you find yourself writing down, well, it's important to me to have a big house or a nice car. These are means values, so to speak. We are really looking at what we call the end values. What if you have these things? What will they give you? How will they make you feel? Okay? You may write down a relationship. Again, what is it about the relationship that you want? What is most important to you about the relationship? How will it make you feel? So write down the end values, such as love, passion, contribution, growth, happiness, success, passion. What are the values that are most important to you in your life? And once you're done, take a moment to order them by the level of importance. So what is your top value number one? Your top priority in life, so to speak, when it comes to feeling a certain way, your emotional state? What is your value number one? What is most important to you in your life? What's number two, number three? And aim to come up with at least 10 values. Order them from 1 to 10. Of course, you can have more, but try not to have less. Now, when you do this, we also have to look at the flip side. We also have to look at the things we are always moving away from. All right? Remember, when it comes to the controlling forces of our life, it's our need to avoid pain and our desire to gain pleasure. So on the flip side, what are the things, what are the emotions you are trying to avoid at all costs? What are the emotional states you are trying to avoid at all costs in your life, day in and day out? And that may be a feeling of rejection or resentment or embarrassment or failure. So what are the feelings, the emotional states you are trying to avoid at all costs? And again, think of the end values here. Okay? And once you have come up with your list of, we call them moving away values, put them into the order of importance again. So what is the value number one in terms of negative emotions you're trying to avoid at all costs? Number two, number three. And once you have both sides, the moving towards values and the moving away values, look at them. Look at the order and look at the moving away, moving towards values, and see if you notice any conflicts. See if they make sense to you. For example, you may have as moving towards value, like a really big value of yours, to be successful, because being successful makes me feel alive. On the opposite side, the moving away value, you may have the resentment or judgment or criticism. So when you have top value as a negative moving away value, criticism or resentment or the fear of judgment, and your top moving towards value is success, then you have a conflict there. Because what happens is, naturally, the more successful you will become, the more exposure you will get, the more people will get a chance to criticize you, to judge you, to resent you for what you do or what you don't do. The more successful you become, that is essentially a part of success, right? Would you agree? But so what happens if people with a top value number one, success, who equally have a top moving away value, the fear of criticism, for instance, what happens is that unconsciously, the moment they start achieving too much success, they find themselves they're taking the foot off the accelerator, or they unconsciously start sabotaging their success to avoid that fear of criticism or rejection. Can you see how this is working and how powerful it is? And most people are not aware of their unconscious and their programming working in this way, because that's all that it is. So there's another element, another important aspect to consider when it comes to our values, what we consider to be most important in terms of emotion and emotional states in our lives, and that are our rules to determine whether we feel we're meeting our values or not. And those rules are called our beliefs. What we believe to be true about ourselves. Beliefs is essentially a thought you keep thinking over and over again. It's a sense of certainty that you have about something working out for you or against you, about who you are, who other people around you are. So they are, so to speak, the global beliefs. MR is, I am, the world is, life is, and the people are. Right? You have a certain set of beliefs, but our beliefs are the rules to determine whether we feel we are meeting our values or not. And that's also briefly something I want to talk about right now, because it's important. It's important. So why is it important? You see, I've attended once a seminar where we were talking about values and belief as well. And a CEO, I'm fortunate enough to attend a seminar with a CEO of a Fortune 500 company. And he identified his top value to be success. Yet he didn't believe that he was successful, because his rule, his belief about what success meant was that a successful person, as a successful businessman, he should be earning $4.5 million per year. Wow. And he was only earning $2 million per year. So in his eyes, he was not successful, which affected how he felt about himself. That was his rule. So you see, sometimes, and more often than not, our rules are designed to make us feel bad, much easier than the rules we have in place that make us feel good about ourselves, if that makes sense. So many rules we have in place, we have designed in a way that work against us, in that we are feeling completely disempowered. Look at this example. There was another person there in the same audience who wasn't earning anywhere near as much money, yet he identified himself to be truly successful. And you could tell that he was, because the way he used his body, the way he smiled, the way he spoke. And when it came down to his rule about what defined his success, he said, "Every day above ground is a great day, and I'm successful." Obviously, that rule made him feel successful inside out, and gave him a completely different life experience. He felt more empowered. He felt better. He felt great. The ultimate resource to human emotion. That's what he was experiencing day in and day out. So really need to make it easier for us to win the game of life by having rules in place for ourselves, by having beliefs that allow us to feel that we are winning the game. So within the framework of this brief session, I also want you to look at your rules you have in place, the beliefs. The rules that determine whether you feel that you are meeting your values, your emotional state, what's most important to you or not. So, I want you to look at your values, the moving towards values. Let's start again. And start from top to bottom. And ask yourself the question. Let's say freedom is your top value number one. Ask yourself the question, what has to happen for me to feel that I'm experiencing freedom, to feel that I'm feeling this emotion? What has to happen for me to feel this emotion? And write it down. Be honest with yourself. Also, if success is one of your top values, what has to happen for me to feel successful? What has to happen for me to feel passionate? What does have to happen for me to feel happy? What has to happen for me to feel love? Write it down and be honest with yourself. And also, if you need to, again, pause me if you're watching this on replay. And also look at the list of the moving away values. The values you are trying to avoid at all costs, those emotional states you're trying to avoid at all costs. Look at that list as well. What are the rules you have in place here? What are the rules you have in place that have the capacity to make you feel bad? Ask yourself the question, what has to happen for me to feel frustrated? What has to happen for me to feel like a failure? What has to happen for me to feel that I'm criticized, that I'm rejected, whatever the negative emotions are here? What has to happen? And this is important to understand because we all have rules in place which make it easier for us to feel bad rather than rules in place that make it easier for us to feel good. It takes a little practice, like the guy who said every day above ground is a great day and I feel successful, but you can absolutely change beliefs, rules you have in place. This would blow the time we have here available and within this setup, but it can be absolutely achieved. In fact, I'm doing this with ambitious women, and it's incredible what happens when you change the rules, when you change your beliefs. So I want you to think about the rules, your rules you have in place, your important values that drive you. What have you discovered about yourself? Do you have any conflicts in place? And which rules are you willing to change? Which beliefs are you willing to change that are not empowering you? We call them limiting beliefs. Which rules, which beliefs are you willing to change or give up that are limiting you for beliefs that are liberating you? So look at your list, look at the work that you have done and think about what are the conflicts between the values, what's most important to me that I really want to achieve in my life, and those values I'm constantly moving away from. Are there any conflicts? What are my beliefs? What are the rules that determine whether I feel that I'm meeting those values? And do these rules make sense? Or have I set myself up for failure to start with? Remember, rules, your beliefs are not necessarily yours. They were given onto you, passed on to you when we were growing up by your parents, your caretakers, the people you were surrounded by, your mentors, the people you were looking up to. And then we end up with a set of beliefs or rules which not necessarily always make sense. The question here, have you recognized that there is a conflict? And if there is, I encourage you to change it. And in a different Mindset Reset Time snapshot session, we may be speaking about how we can change these rules, those beliefs, but it's a more lengthy process. But here, the point of this session, this brief Mindset Reset Time snapshot session, is really to encourage you to think, do the rules, do they make any sense? Do they work for me or against me? Do I have values in place that actually work for me, or am I running them on autopilot? And do I need to change anything to change the direction of my life that I'm heading? I hope you found this useful. Take this exercise seriously. It's a powerful exercise, really values and beliefs, such an incredibly important topic because they are the true source of true success or failure. I hope you have found this useful. If you enjoy conversations such as this, feel free to come along to one of those group workshop sessions I run called Mindset Reset Time every Tuesday at 2 and every Friday at 10. You can get yourself a free day pass under themindsetmedium.com. the link to which you find in the description. In the meantime, live strong, live with passion, and embrace the power of your mindset every day. It's always working for you if you take charge, and not necessarily always for you if you just let it flow and do its own thing. I really want us, and that is my mission in life, to empower women to take charge of that incredible mindset of ours that is allowing us to either be, do, or create and give everything that we want in life, or the opposite. So I hope you found this useful. Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining in. And I hope to see you at one of the Mindset Reset Time sessions. Thanks and have a great day.